right.
Put both of these together. So,
Right.
did you get too much light from the back?
We are live.
We are live?
Yes.
So, where are we at?
There we are.
Right. Did you get too much light from the back?
We are live.
We are live?
Yes.
Where are we at?
There we are.
Right. Get too much light from the back?
We are live.
We're live?
Yes.
We're live.
There we are. All right, Jorge, the floor is yours.
Okay, I'm turning this on. There's too much air blowing. So this is Twitch, eh? Okay, so yeah, I'm Jorge Cervantes, and we're doing a Twitch program. This is a new one to me. I've never done anything like this. So yeah, I'm here with a couple of my friends, Stefan Meyer, and here's Stefan.
Hello.
And over here is Gary. Gary, Dr. Gary. Dr. Gary. Gary is really, well, actually, both of these guys are pretty interesting. Let's see. So Gary, well, let's see. What am I doing? Okay, I've got an agenda here and everything. So we're doing a book. Actually, we're all three working on a book, a new book, a beginner's book, a beginner's grower's guide. We haven't given it a name yet. We've got kind of like a working title, but we'll figure the name out pretty soon. But actually, it's really quite a cool book because it's a freebie. It's and it'll teach you all about growing, everything you need to know, all of the basic stuff, and it's digital. So let me introduce. Well, I've already introduced Gary and Stefan, but Gary, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, of course.
Here,
So,
let's see. Can you here? This is the one. This works best.
Yeah.
We're real organized.
Yeah. Yeah. So I studied genetics originally. I moved into plant science, did a PhD on that, worked on photosynthesis, worked on plant pathogen interactions. And more recently, I've been working in the cannabis industry as a genetic advisor and supplier, working with seedsmen and pharma seeds, and also been doing some cultivation consultancy around the globe. So yeah, I think the combination of skills in the room is quite complementary. So, and on that note, I'll hand over to Stefan, who can tell you a little bit about himself.
So here I am. My name is Stefan. I've been a friend of George for more than 20 years. So I think we're both old.
Yeah, we're both old.
I started in Switzerland. Actually, the very first trip you were on a tour.
Oh, right,
with our friend,
Mugio.
Exactly, with our friend Goyo. May he rest in peace. A very good photographer, good friend of ours from Barcelona. And yeah, and lately we've been chit-chatting, especially during the pandemic when we were both bored. And here we are. You know, who wants to retire? We want to move on. We want to still rock and roll. And,
exactly.
Yeah, and I also at one point I was managing a research license here in Spain, and then I've been growing in Colombia in the last 2 years. And yeah, here I am with Jorge. Back to the roots of, you know, the passionate growers that are more into the plant than into the PDFs of crazy whatever capital markets and all this kind of, which is still great, you know, we're not against it, but
it's all over the world now too, you know. I mean, because the last time, well, I remember we would cross paths all the time in Colombia. It was interesting, a lot of stuff going on there, a lot of stuff going on in Peru.
Absolutely.
All over the place, but
let it grow.
The phyto plant that you were
absolutely
that was quite the place.
That was quite the place. But right now I am Phytoflow, so I am a consultant and I do a little kind of projects all by myself, and that's why we are collaborating. And I think we are kind of a good team, complementary. Jorge really knows how to simplify concepts. Gary has a very strong background. Actually, he has a PhD, so he has a very strong background in genetics and a lot of experience growing plant in different locations. And so, and I've been also trying to troubleshoot the typical problems of the industry, compliance issues, and all kind of GMP quality issues. And so when we start talking, we usually end up flowing somewhere inside cyberspace. The book gets a little bit delayed because we have
we keep trying to make it too complex, it's a beginner's book.
Yes, and then usually,
absolutely.
Usually Jorge has to say, but this is a beginner's book.
Yeah, I know. And Gary's like, well, we got to get that science in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
Well, but that's why it has to be beginners, right? Because we need to make it, communicative for everyone. But don't get me wrong, there's some nuggets of really useful information in there for all growers. It's not, it's a beginner's guide, but there's also some really good tips and some really good tricks in there for, people with a little bit more experience as well.
So true. Like, actually, we could go through. Let me look at a couple of things.
That's a good idea.
What are a few things? Because I've got the book right here on my phone. Actually, I got to find the damn thing first.
Well, one of the things I like about the structure while you're finding that is just the way that it's laid out. It's very stepwise. It's very easy to follow. But like I say, it cuts through all the noise and it tells you the important information. So anybody coming to this area of cultivation for the first time can really get a handle on what they're doing right off the mark. So, there's so much information out there. You need a man you can trust like Jorge to really deliver it in a way as he's done over many years. And that's where we are today. So we're looking forward to getting the final stamp on it, which is quite close, right, guys? We're not too far away now.
Yeah, we're about a month away from being able to post it on the internet.
Yeah. We don't know exactly when we'll do the posting, obviously edits and stuff, but it's coming along nice. We've had a good session today on it.
Yeah.
And it's
yes, and then someone is going on a tour, I heard. So that's
right. Yeah, okay. So I found this. I mean, here's the table of contents. Oh, yeah, you can see it here. Oh no, we've got a kind of a rainbow effect going on.
Yeah.
Actually, that's kind of nice.
Yes.
Okay, well, we should okay.
Yeah.
We've got an idea for the table of contents now.
Yeah, to Phantom Hell or go the Sword Angelic, just take a pinch of psychedelic.
Yeah. So actually, I'm going to go back to the United States because see, we're sitting here in my apartment here in Barcelona, Spain, and Gary was nice enough to come all the way down from the UK.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. No, it's an honor to be here.
Yeah, and Stefan, where you came over from Switzerland. Yeah, so we're all here just today and tomorrow, and we're also making some plans for my trip to the United States. And this will be the first time in 3 years that I will go there. And man, so many things have changed, tons.
Maybe let's just talk more about on the book. Maybe let's just talk about the varieties.
Oh,
first,
okay.
That was as a tip. That was a topic today. And maybe you introduce it.
Okay, well, we were talking about the varieties of cannabis, or strains, everybody calls them. What everybody's interested in, what they're all growing today. What are the important ones? Are people growing autoflowers? They've been really big in Europe, and they appear to be hitting pretty big in the United States. So I don't know. I mean, how many with the autos? Tons of those being grown.
Yeah, and also we're not even obviously the latest generation of autos, which are compounded all the best of all the previous autos into one. You get all the kind of variations that you get in the photos now, and if you grow them well, you can match productivity of the photo periods. But it's also interesting to hear from you guys what you think, because the strains are just coming online so quickly. It's hard for any one person to keep on top of them all. So we want to know what you're growing in 2022, especially like ones that are a bit unusual, not so common. Anything that you would recommend for new growers? Something. I mean, a lot of the strains these days are easy to grow anyway. But yeah, we've got a list of a few here that we would like to talk about. And
one of them was Skittles.
Yeah,
just
Skittles.
Looked at all the candies and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of those fruity profiles, right? High THC.
It's been real popular, and they've been crossing it with everything.
Yeah, yeah.
too.
There's Skittles and sherbets, and all sorts of colours in there, and yeah, some fun. And actually, one of the ones we were going to mention was Coyote. It's a range that Seedsmen do actually, which is they've got Wi-Fi, they've got Skittles, they've got Gorilla Glue, and the Gorilla one we're talking about is a great hash plant. It's so resinous, so full of.
Yeah, the Gorilla Glue, the number 4 was really big.
Yeah,
I remember.
yeah.
That was one everybody was growing in California a few years ago.
Yeah.
And man, you put on some serious resin. Okay, and then what was the feminized seeds? The one that you were looking at?
The vanilla frosting.
Right.
That one from Humboldt Seed Company.
Right, right. Yeah, those guys have been kind of like standing out.
Oh, they're crushing it.
Yeah.
They've got great lines over there. Vanilla frosting is an absolute stellar. It's got the terps, it's got the really high THC plus 30%. But vanilla flavored and just frosting. I mean, it's so well named for flavor and description.
But it's really vanilla flavored.
Yeah,
I mean, it really comes
cake,
out
really
because a lot of
cakey,
times they'll say things and they don't.
It's got some berry flavor in there as well. It's a bit of fruity undertone, but yeah, the vanilla comes out. Yeah, definitely.
And it's strong as well too.
Yeah, I've seen COAs up to 32% THC with that one. So yeah, that's a really good one from Humboldt. Grows quite easy. I know several commercial facilities that grow it as well as as well as kind of people at home. So it's a really good, fairly stable genetic as well, which is important.
Yeah, when you say fairly stable, what do you mean by fairly stable?
So, well, let's be clear. What I mean by that actually is a uniform seed lot. So if you plant it out, you won't get much variation in that seed lot. It's well bred, right? So I should have said more uniform rather than stable.
Yeah.
Because stability actually pertains to when we go down the generations and what happens there. But
see, he's been editing my work. I was like, use the right words, everybody.
Yeah.
I have to get, we have to laugh about it, right?
Yeah.
But it's important to use the right words,
Yeah. We don't want to perpetuate, the kind of wrong information. That's
exactly.
For sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, and maybe it's interesting to also hear if anybody here connected would like to share, what you've been growing this year, what are the varieties that really made a difference, and maybe focusing on the ones which are easy to grow. We would like to start from the beginners, so not the most complicated, the ones that require, tweaking, all kind of light, number of hours of light or whatever, food regimen or, so we are very interested in if you can suggest something here in the chat or send us a message through Facebook or through Instagram. You will see there are all kind of links there on this page, and we are really looking for input and especially the new stuff. Who has time to grow everything and have an opinion? It's a full-time job just by itself, so it's very important that people help us, give us their input. We are here to listen. We are not pretending to be the best, but we try to do a good job, which is not everybody does that.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way.
Yeah. And then one thing too, if you have any pictures of really big ass plants, send them in because they look so cool. I mean, just big plants. Yeah. Big plants are great.
Yeah,
always.
but on the other side, I am the one that
I like
also
big
very much loves to see pictures of mistakes, things you did wrong and how they looked. Because we all learn from mistakes, and if you can help somebody else by saying, this is what I did and this is what is the outcome, don't do it, it's so much more convincing than just saying don't do it, right? You got evidence of what's going to happen, and so we are also trying to, we are not just trying to look for who's the world champion, actually, with the legend in the house.
That's what everybody else says. Don't believe it.
I think beginners is also about learning from the small mistakes. Yes. We a lot of sirens here, but something's going on in Barcelona.
In the city.
Exactly. But I think it's very, very important when you are trying to address a beginner's grower's guide to address where are those mistakes, what you shouldn't do, so that at the end you harvest and you're satisfied and you can whatever you want to do with your harvest. So that's important to share it too. But of course, the big ass picture, that's what everybody gives a big wall. But I also wanted to call in, be humble, and if you made a mistake, share it with others. It will make other people's life better.
Or if you've grown any freaks by accident,
that's
interesting,
some
right?
cool
To share,
freaks.
because sometimes it's not because the grower's mistake. There's actually an abnormality that you end up, growing out, and it's kind of weird. So anything like that would be cool to see as well. And I'm sure Jorge will share it in one form or another at some point. So you get a little bit of claim of fame there as well with your pictures.
Yeah, actually, we've been posting a lot of different stuff on Facebook and things now, really making a push for the future. And well, with this new free book,
yes, I see someone here.
Quite a good deal.
Someone here is suggesting the Jamaican Pearl Feminalis.
Oh, Jamaican Pearl.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
so.
Is that from do you think that's bred from Jamaican lion?
Could be, I don't know.
I don't know. Where does that one come
here,
from? Because it could come from a couple of different places.
Yeah, and here there's another suggestion by a collaboration with Jason from Dark Horse Genetics and Das. And this new variety is called Dark Owl. Dark Owl. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly.
How do you spell?
Dark Owl, right?
Dark Owl. Yeah.
Dark owl.
Yes.
Yeah.
Owl.
Yeah, I knew it was something.
Owl. Yeah, we get the language mixed up.
Dark owl.
Dark owl.
Yeah.
Oh.
Flies a bit and gets you flying at night, nice and silent.
Yeah, so there is some nice input coming.
Perfect. Great, guys, because we need to look up these varieties as strains and figure out what they're doing, because like we say, it's hard to keep on top of all the new varieties. And we've got some more to suggest actually as well, right?
Right.
Have we got
you have the list there. What was that Muffy one? Muffin. Yeah,
what was pineapple muffin.
Pineapple muffin. Yeah. The name on that. I love the name. Pineapple muffin.
I mean, the first pineapple I had was Pineapple Express.
Right.
I've tried Pineapple Crush, which was a great one. But who does that one? Does it say?
Let me open that up. Sorry,
Pineapple muffin.
Yes.
Pineapple muffin, regular seeds. Yeah.
Regular seeds are real big in America, not so big here as they are in America.
By the way, we should say this is totally improvised.
Can you tell?
Exactly. We were working on this new book together, and then I said, hey, we really have to test out this new Twitch. And I'm not sure I ever heard yes, let's do it. And then we were streaming. Yes. So I take full responsibility. It's from Humble Seeds. Yes.
Yeah. So
you said that was quite a nice one.
So some of those ones with the pineapple, like sometimes they don't, but it really tastes like pineapple, which is it's distinctive, and that's something that some of these modern strains have, the variation in taste through the terpenes and maybe flavonoids in there. Just, I mean, it's the possibility of combinations seems like infinite, right? Like different ratios of the same ones, different dominant ones, different minor ones.
It seems so, but you did a real funny article in the blog on what was it? Mongoose. Yeah, that was you or no?
Don't think that was.
No, that wasn't Gary. I thought you did that one. I mean, it was another one. Oh yeah. No, it was about how much mango taste is actually.
Oh, I think mango. Yeah. That wasn't me, but we were part of that conversation.
Okay, so that was hilarious, really, because actually not that much mango taste could really be found. So that's why I was asking. It's like, well, pineapple for sure. Pineapple really shows up, and it's really a strong taste.
Actually, someone in the chat. Sorry to interrupt you, but someone in the chat is asking for a good 1:1 ratio THC CBD, and I think Gary, you had some suggestions.
Cream and cheese is a good one. That's so the ratio 1:1, it varies just slightly depending, obviously there's so much variables in the input for cultivation, light spectrum, light intensity, feed regime, all these things, even temperature and humidity will affect how the plant responds, and that can vary that ratio ever so slightly, but it's pretty consistent. But especially if you're looking for medicine or you don't want to get too intoxicated, a 1:1's really good, and a lot of the medical growers that I serve are looking for 1:1s, and that's one of the first ones I would say, have a look at this, let's see what that does. It yields pretty big, is pretty strong. I think you get 9 to 11% of each THC and CBD out it. So, you know, you can really turn the screw on it, which again, historically, the 1-to-1s have been low overall cannabinoid yields, but this one does well, you know, if you grow it right, and it's fairly easy to grow.
Yeah, that's a big question. How easy is it to grow?
Yeah, I mean, like, we're doing a project just now where we're experimenting with water only, you know, using really good soil.
That was really interesting.
And the results
water only.
Fantastic. So no feed, just water and a really good soil base, and the results have been fantastic so far. There's been no signs of, you know, lack of nutrients in the plants. I've barely seen a shady leaf, to be honest. They've all been lush. So, but and this is where we are today, right? We've got all these different options in the way we grow. And I thought, well, let's do a project where we simplify it, you know, and it's just, don't worry about ECs and pHs too much. It's just, you know,
make it real simple.
Yeah.
That's the whole premise of this new book, this free book. And it's called Lawns: Light, Air, Water, Nutrients, and Substrate or Soil. And you just remember those basic things, and you're sorted out. So you got to make everything really simple and get a hold of the basics, and don't forget them, because that's the base of everything.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's easy to get sidetracked.
Yeah. And if you stick to the, I mean, you can. I always say that growing is easy, but growing well is difficult, right? But the lawns guide, for example, it just keeps everything in check. If you mow your lawn, you know, you get a lush, you know, vegetation essentially.
Well, so, what happens is people get off on tangents and they forget what the basics are. And when you do that, you get away from, you know, your pH, the EC, or your basic stuff, or just watering. Watering's a huge deal. How do you water properly? I always like to have a water meter that I actually check the soil, and it works great. You know, but you've got to develop all of these skills, and it does take a while.
Yeah.
But the basics are so important. Like, for example, if you water real heavy and then it cools down, the water's not going to be used. So that water will sit in there. And if you don't pay attention to the last time you watered and realize there's water still in a container, for example, and you water again and again, you're overwatering that plant, and then before you know it, there's a fungus will set in.
Yeah.
And you don't see it, and you don't realize it's there for 3 or 4 weeks.
I mean, even at the commercial growing level, that's one of the most common problems I find is the plants are just always wet, and they always get the same
overwater
no matter the conditions. Bear in mind that, you know, that on really optimal conditions, like over 90% of that water gets sucked up and evaporated, you know.
Yes, exactly.
It doesn't use as much water as you're giving it. It's using water to cool down. You know, it's using water to fuel photosynthesis. You know, this idea that it's just drinking it all and keeping it all in to grow mass is a slight misunderstanding. So, but Jorge is right. I think the first thing you're growing any plant is master the watering, you know. And it's super important, as you say, not to overdo it. And I always say, you can see signs of underwatering, which you can correct immediately. But if you see signs of overwatering, it's probably already too late.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. And learning proper dry back when you pot up as well is really important, to send those roots into the new soil or substrate, searching for water. Super important for building strong plants, and keeping that vigor going all the time. You never want to hold the plant back. Always just the timing of the potting up and the watering regime. You nail that and you're halfway there.
Absolutely. Those are fast growing plants, and in fast growing plants, to keep the vigor, you need to have this lung system, right? You don't want to, and that's really the most common mistake. I have a good friend, Steve Abu, from which I learned all these watering strategies. And at the beginning, I was kind of thinking, okay, we're explaining the mysteries of the universe through watering strategies, but I give him full credit. It's so important. It's so simple yet so important, and so often I think it has to do something with the psychology. No, we care about our plants, so we want to give them more water, more nutrients. We're feeding our kids or whatever it is, and that's just such a big mistake. I agree with you. maybe to give some input from the chats. So somebody is complaining about the background. Your background sucks. So this is your office, Jorge. I just want to blame you.
The background. Let me get up.
I'm joking.
Let me get up. It's the background. Let me close the.
No.
Es lo que está diciendo.
It's because we've got the background.
Well, yeah, exactly. Maybe it's blurred. I mean, this is improvised, so that's what we have for now. But don't worry. No. That's no. Oh yeah, take away the blurring. Let's see what happens. Oh, hey, it looks like Barcelona all of a sudden. So this looks better.
Yeah, but see, there's so much light out here. ¿Dónde está Armando para bajarlos?
I don't know. And but besides that, Jorge, here we have someone else suggesting.
We could turn this.
Suggesting a variety THC CBD. I don't know if you heard it. Arlequin crossed with black dominant.
Harlequin?
Yeah,
Harlequin with black dominant. Black dominant is from Cincy, yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it is. It's an old one from Cincy, like 20 years ago. And Harlequin was that one from what's his name? The what's called from Humboldt County. It was him and Jaime both came out with similar plants at the same time. But Harlequin was the other big CBD one.
Mm-hmm.
Ringo is it? Yeah. What's his first name? Can't remember. Last name was Ringo. Somebody will remember. I can't remember. He passed away like 5 years ago.
Oh, may he rest in peace.
So this is a new recommendation for a 1-to-1, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to check that out.
Absolutely. And here's a question that maybe we can address.
And cover this.
I don't know where is the remote for that, but
let me go inside and I'll find it.
And maybe here, Gary, here's something you can address. They are asking whether the CBD depends more on the genetic or on the way you're feeding your plants. I think that's an easy one.
Yeah, it's definitely genetics. Yeah. Definitely. So you can manipulate a little bit of the ratio, like I said, through the environment, but it's if you don't have the expression of the THCA synthase, then the CBDA synthase, then you won't get too much CBD. It's actually improved. So some of the different ratios of THC to CBD are actually really hard to keep consistent. And one of the factors in that is the growing conditions. So there's an element of both, like most things we plant, but it's predominantly genetic in this case, because like I say, if it's not expressing the synthase gene that makes the CBD, then you won't get much CBD production. But they are on the same pathway, THC and CBD.
Yeah.
So
all coming from CBG, right?
Yeah,
the synthase.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And by the way, this is pretty incredible. I'm just reading the chat quickly. And we've got people from Scotland, as we have people from Melbourne,
right?
And we have people from California. So,
so
all of a sudden, we improvise and it goes global. So
see, it was always making that background.
Yeah, no, that was a great add-on to take away the blurring and did the little trick there.
Yeah.
Maybe Jorge, you want to speak a little bit about your trip in the USA and what you're looking for and what's interesting for you?
Déjame hacerlo más grande. See, that's a lot bigger.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll go in there. I'm gonna spend most of the time on the West Coast, and I'm gonna go on garden tours really. And I'm looking for backyard gardens. I kind of prefer small ones now because everybody seems to have huge gardens. You know, a few years ago they didn't, but now they do. And there's so many things to do, so many things that are changing so quickly. And then I'll visit, Seattle, Portland. I'll go up and down the West Coast for sure. And then also hit a couple of trade shows. One of them, the Marijuana Unpacked in Las Vegas. When is that? Like in
end of September?
End of September.
MJ Unpacked.
MJ Unpacked. Yeah, Marijuana MJ Unpacked. And I'll go there, and I've got this huge list of places that I'm already sorted out and going to stop at and take pictures, videos, and ¿qué dice? Perdona?
Suggest. You can suggest.
Yeah, so if anyone's got.
Yeah, right. I'm sorry, I'm a little tired. I went to a club La Peña Gastronómica yet, and it was we have a food club, and it was wonderful. It's a great food club. It's just like excellent. So yeah, I'll be looking for all kinds of gardens. So if you have any gardens, could you please contact me either on Facebook or, well, it's probably the easiest on Facebook or LinkedIn too. And then yeah, I'll be shooting videos and posting all about the trip during the whole time. This is going to be a new trip for me, I'll tell you, because I always waited until after the fact before I tell where I've been. See, you know, for security, right? And now I'm telling you ahead of time. It's completely different, kind of like backwards. So that's why I'm a little nervous.
Forwards. It's the forwards way of doing it.
Well, yeah, it's like, okay, I don't do it like that.
No, but the thing is as well, like the small gardens, you'll see more quirks, you'll see more,
Yeah.
you know, you'll learn more, and I take it you're gathering information,
Yes.
you know, which will then become, you know, incorporated into some future publication as well.
Exactly. Well, see, what happens is you look at all of the people that have gardens, and there's thousands and thousands of them. And then you look at how many people have big gardens, there's hundreds of them.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, there's a lot more people with smaller gardens. They just don't get showcased that much. And that's what I'm out to see, because they've got all kinds of unique conditions, you know, like where the plant's planted within the garden. What kind of other problems do they have, you know? Do they have companion plants next to them? Are they next to a lawn? Do they have trouble with weeds? Do they bother the neighbors? You know, all of the little problems. I remember when I was growing in California, one of the big deals was the smell. You know, geez, the smell. The neighbors. Well, some of the neighbors loved me. The other ones really just they hated me. I mean, it was just black and white that way.
Yeah.
But the smell was a big thing, and one of the ways I got rid of the smell was pretty easy. I thought it was pretty unique. I got some carob mulch from a carob tree, you know, like the bark dust.
Yeah.
And then you put that on. Well, when the smell comes, it's during the heat of the day. So what you do, you just water that carob mulch during the heat of the day, and it starts smelling like chocolate. And it,
Wow.
and it disguises the smell of the cannabis.
Wow.
Yeah, it works great.
Maybe here's something to address, Jorge.
But you got to stay right with it. Yeah.
Sorry. Here's something to address. Our friend Jacob is saying, I would be so nervous to invite Jorge at my garden, but it would be an honor. Should they really be nervous?
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, look, I can fuck stuff up just as good as you guys can. No, don't worry about it. I mean, I've seen like so many screwed up things, you know. And actually, I could probably give you a couple of pointers too. You know, I've seen a couple of things, so maybe I could help it.
And also, there's no wrong answers.
Yeah, that's right.
If it's working, it's working.
Yeah.
Right? We can say whatever we want, but if it's working for you, it's right. That's,
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So don't worry about it. It's, you know, and you know, it took me a while to get over that as well. You know, for sure. But it's fine. You know, he's a humble guy. It's it's okay.
I'm kind of fascinated by all of the screw ups. Because, you know, I mean, like, okay, for example, one time we took a plant, or this guy took a plant and took it out of the pot and threw it out in a vacant lot, you know. I mean, it was like a 4-inch pot and stuff. Like 3 weeks later, we go by there and the damn plant's growing.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that was one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
The
roots are green on the outside. Growing. You know, I mean, there is all kinds of stuff, or you know, pruning techniques, or any, for example, all kinds of little things happen in your backyard, and those are the really interesting things to me.
Yeah,
really
even unusual like ways of making, you know, like organic feeds or soils or, you know, compost teas, all these things. It's, you know, because the region. So if you're into that kind of organic growing, and you're interested in how the microbes in the soil and stuff interact with the plant, then you might want to, you know, consider sourcing that locally, like in a kind of Korean natural farming method, where you pull the bugs out of your local environment as opposed to importing them, because regional specificity in these these bugs is really important. If you bring them from somewhere they're not native to, the population declines over the growing period. Whereas if you fish them out where you're growing, then they'll keep themselves thriving and create a little ecosystem.
That's right. They're like the ladybugs, the ladybugs. They always sell those in the spring. Well, the thing is, they go collect these in America, usually in the West Coast anyway, in the Sierra Mountains. So they all these ladybugs they've like eaten all winter. I mean, all summer before, and they're just full of fat, and all they can think of, is like hibernating and stuff. Well, when they wake up in the next springtime, when you buy them, all they can think of is sex. All they want to do is have sex, right? So the first thing they do is they fly straight up. They already got all the food on them they need. They're already flying. So because they've got the fat, so they fly straight up and let the wind currents take them away.
Wow.
Right out of your garden. Yeah. That's just one of them. One of them. The other ones you can order, you can bring them in, but that's mainly for if they're enclosed.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's almost like it's unlimited the different ways you can modulate your cultivation, right?
Oh yeah.
From hydroponics to natural farming, natural light to artificial light, and then within that there's subgroups and so on and so on and so on. Low stress, high stress techniques, scrogging, there's whatever. But so if you're out there and you're thinking, can I want to speak to Jorge about maybe coming to my garden, just do it. Just do it, because you've probably got a unique approach that Jorge will appreciate learning about. And if there's some problem to be solved, then it's doubly good for you.
Yeah, right? I might get lucky. I might know the answer that day. We'll see, but yeah, but I'm interested in everything. Really am. A lot of people think gardens are not perfect.
Yeah.
I remember, like, for example, my buddy Joey, one year in Humboldt County, he had the best garden I ever saw. It was like a half an acre, and they pulled off over a ton, or it is a bit over a half a ton on a half an acre. Yeah, it was, and that was the year they had like 10-pound plants and stuff. That was pretty nice. But other years, I mean, he had the shittiest gardens in the world. I mean, the climate didn't work for him that year. So some years are good, other years are bad. It depends.
Yeah, it doesn't make you a bad grower if the weather.
Yeah, it makes you unlucky grower. Unlucky.
So what states are you going to actually visit when you're over there?
Washington, Oregon, and California, and probably Nevada too.
Right.
Nevada too, Southern Nevada. I might go through the northern part, but I'll go through Nevada, and maybe to Los Angeles, maybe not. It kind of depends.
Yeah, and maybe also it's important to say it doesn't need to be just grow gardens. It could also be dispensaries. Many countries don't have dispensaries yet. I would say actually the majority of countries don't have dispensaries. So everybody's very interested to learn that those are becoming models for other countries, not necessarily one specific, but there's a lot to learn. I think there's been also a learning process going on, right? In California, things have changed a lot, and the laws and the taxes, and
nobody knows what the laws are half the time.
But I think there is a clear leadership from many of those states in setting a model, setting an example, which nobody pretends to be perfect, but it's already so much better than just prohibition and going to jail or whatever the old system was. Right? So I think anybody should contact you in that direction.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Plenty to learn, and what you might think is obvious because you see it every day, for others might be just so interesting,
So one other thing, I guess, is like if you're maybe like a craft hash maker or something like that, that might be interesting as well, right, Jorge? When go and find these kind of unusual techniques.
There's the rosin, everything. There's so many different things going on now.
And that's the other thing I was going to say, Stefan. The variety of products now is just insane.
America is crazy for the amount of products they have.
Yeah,
and they still don't have those little pins that we were talking about.
The vape pen.
Yeah, the vape pen, about like a pencil like this, except. Yeah, with the cartridge and the mouthpiece up there.
Yeah, you get like, what is it, like 1 ml or half a ml of oil in there with, pretty much whatever percentage of THC you want to buy. Like, seen it all the way up to 75-80% THC. But they blend it with full spectrum, so you still get the terps and you still got all the other natural plant oils, which is really good, especially if you're keen on the entourage effect. But yeah, anything like that, I guess, right? Because over, as you say, over the last 3 years, it's just exploded in every direction. So yeah, it's good to get a handle on it. And even up in Canada as well, there's been some innovation up there, and those guys have figured out a lot of things.
Yeah, I haven't been to Canada for a long time. I'll probably go up to BC for a few days too.
Yeah, well, I was in Toronto last year, and the knowledge base of the people working in dispensaries was fantastic.
Really?
Oh yeah,
it is.
You walk in there, and I must admit, I went in there. I was like, oh, I don't know what I want. Like, what do you suggest for someone who's not? And they just broke it all down. You might want to start with something mild, or even a 1-to-1, and just breaking it all down. And and then eventually say, well, I'm actually here for a cannabis conference. And then we had a good old laugh about it, and they gave me the strongest stuff they had. But those guys are a wee bit slow to start on their system, but I think they're starting to get there now. A wee bit oversubscribed, as most people do, because we understand that, though, right? This idea that just go for it because it's been in the shadows for so long. Now we can shine a light on it. Of course, there's a bit of a rush, but the recoil is also a part of that.
So true. And well, I don't know. Here in Europe, I mean, America just seems to be ahead of everybody.
Yeah.
Because there's so many legal states there, and wow, just things move so fast there compared to Europe.
South America is opening up quite well as well.
Yeah.
Countries.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. We get all kinds of hits from Chile, Argentina, and Colombia, and Mexico.
Yeah, has Ecuador recently changed the rules as well?
Yeah. Slowly, but only for medical and health.
Adult use. Yes. And obviously Thailand's going crazy just now.
I was going to mention there's more than a few friends in the chat from Thailand.
Really?
Thailand. And,
I'll be there. I'll be in Thailand. I'm planning a trip, actually.
Absolutely.
Yeah, planning that. Looking forward to seeing you guys over there. I just want to wait for the weather to quit raining. And then you have the hurricanes too, or the typhoons or hurricanes. I can't remember.
Yes, maybe you should do a Thai. Yes, absolutely. Yes, for Thai cannabis. And quite a few friends also from Portugal are writing in.
Wow.
They're saying, when is Jorge coming to Portugal? And
I should go over there,
Yeah.
Not that far away. I mean, it's about an hour and a half on the plane. It's that, yeah.
Maybe we should mention your blog.
Oh, yes, we have a blog. I have a blog too. Got all kinds of new things. So a blog, Jorge-Cervantes.com, Jorge-Cervantes.com or .com. We got all kinds of stuff going on there. Well, not all kinds, it's just actually starting. There's a half a dozen blogs there. It's entire history. I don't know, maybe you guys that may not know me, I've got quite a history. I've written some 50 books in 8 different languages. So the entire history is there. I've been around for 40 years. So yeah, just check out the history there. You can get a Jorge t-shirt. What else is on there? A few other things. Let me look. I'm getting tired. I went to the La Peña Gastronomica yet, and that's still with me.
Yeah, maybe what would be interesting is also we are creating new content now with Jorge and friends, all kind of different from different areas of specializations. We got people in breeding, we got people in growing and stuff. But it would be interesting to know what are the topics that you would like, that the viewers would like to see developed. Are you more interested in genetics, in growing techniques, in UV lights to sterilize? I don't know, whatever.
Right. Cultivation. What parts of cultivation?
So
you'd like to know more about? Really got quite a bit of expertise right here.
And actually, Stefan's humble, but he's a master networker as well. And I don't think there's anyone involved in cannabis that he doesn't know worldwide or is one person. But the power in that is unbelievable, because we can get to the bottom of things really quickly.
Yeah.
You know, through our extended network if we don't know between, you know.
Couple phone calls.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm usually so thank you so much for your work. But what I'm really often surprised is, so we've been doing a few things with Jorge now, and even when calling, CEOs of big corporations, of which are moving hundreds of people or teams of hundreds of people and big numbers, they say, "Hey, but you're talking about Jorge Cervantes, the guy of the book."
I can't believe it.
That was my first book. I learned from this guy, and there is overall there is a general everybody knows you, and everybody kind of at the very beginning when they really started to be interested in cannabis, they landed on one of your books, and that was usually the first step into whatever their career. So I'm surprised of how many people which are now really influencing the great the market at the greater level have you in there. Oh, but that was my first step.
No, it's true. It's true.
So they're usually very happy to collaborate and whatever I'll do for Jorge. So we are able to access a lot of information if required.
That's the one, yeah.
This is the first one I printed myself. Everybody said I was, they felt sorry for me. They thought I was crazy.
What year was that published?
1983.
Yeah,
1983.
Yes, I love the binding here. You can really see.
Staples. It was stapled together. Yeah, we have to go down and rent a stapler. Oh yeah.
So that's the first edition, is it?
Yeah. These are
Oh my God, yeah.
basic drawings.
Nice.
Yeah, a lot of them have been ripped as well over the time, right?
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's
Old stuff.
incredible the amount of images from your books that we can find on the internet.
Yeah,
They
that's
are
what-
they're
everywhere.
everywhere.
It's on social media. You really dig it, and for example, your nutrient deficiency chart.
Oh, right,
I
that's
have found
everywhere.
it, on hundreds of Facebook pages.
Yeah,
and
yes.
Some people are kind enough to quote you as the author.
Yeah, right.
Others just put their logo. It's mine or
Yeah.
whatever it is. Yes.
No, it's true. It's true.
Amazing how
Okay,
much.
so
But it's
I'm
amazing.
looking for, there's one photo in here. My buddy Kenny had, I thought it was in this book, maybe it's a different one. But we just stuck a $50 bill to a bud. Just stuck there automatically. Yeah, I think it's in here somewhere. I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, this was just such a basic book.
So have you got any idea how many books you've sold over the years? Because that's a
More than 1 million, and yeah. No, and they're in different languages too. That was really tough. I went through about a 10-year period where I was publishing in different languages.
wow.
Yeah. So we had Spanish, German, French, Dutch, Japanese,
Italian.
Italian, yeah. Italian, Russian, and yeah, that's it. That's it. Eight of them altogether. French too, yeah. But quite a few of each one. Yeah, so that really, and then too, we're gonna make this free book into all kinds of different languages. And Thai is gonna be one of the languages we put it into, obviously Spanish, and the other, and Portuguese as well. Portuguese, nobody's done anything in Portuguese. And yeah, so look forward to it.
Yes, it'll be interesting as well to, if we ever would then, take your first publication, compare it to your latest publication, and see how the information has changed over time.
So much.
Because a lot of that stuff, a lot of the stuff in there, they were sourced from growers, and that was it, right? There was no renowned experts at that time.
No, none.
Nowadays, we've got people coming from all sorts of backgrounds and all sorts of histories, feeding into this industry, and it's really provided a real wealth, a real rich vein of knowledge. And to be honest, I've studied a few different plants, and we've only scratched the surface of this one. Like, we're only just touching the surface of what's capable. What was the thing we were talking about earlier about all these, something in the region of estimates 10 to 12,000 strains worldwide,
Oh, right,
that all
right.
the polyhybrids. But it all condenses down to 5 or 6 variants, which is amazing.
Yes.
So even just in terms of genetic diversity, we've not.
There's very little.
Yeah,
very little.
We've not really
diversity.
pushed that. And that
Yeah.
envelope.
I think we're going to see more and more now that we are able to really see the genes and the DNA. You know, before it was all just the name, and of course, but we have seen that the same name can be represent at least 20, 30 varieties.
Yeah.
You know, so there's so much confusion. But now that we see the genes, there is no more confusion.
It's a map. It's right
We
there.
never used to talk in terms of percentage of cannabinoids either, right? That's a very new thing.
Yeah.
It was just that, you know, is it daytime, is it nighttime, is it strong, is it not? You know, that was it.
Yes.
That was your
Well,
description.
good dope and bad dope.
Yeah.
Yes, which is kind of absurd, I think. I mean, it's this idea that the higher the THC, the higher the price in the shop. I mean, it's like the higher the percentage of alcohol in wine doesn't make it more expensive.
Yeah,
So it's so much more.
And the craft, and that's what you should be paying for, is the craft. And you know, for me, it's a combination, and the best growers around the world is a combination of passion and real like astuteness to detail. You know, refining all those different methods and honing them over years, but also doing it in a smart fashion. You know, keeping good notes, making good adjustments along the way. This is how you. I mean, nobody comes out the traps of, you know, a world-beating grower. You know, it takes time. You need to refine it. You need to learn all the time, and that's what Jorge's doing now, right? Is that, you know, just and if someone of that status and that kind of history is still continuing to learn to this day, then
it's fun.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Because
cool part about stuff.
And one of the things I was leading to there was that's why it's important to do things like this, because we've got the power of numbers now. It's not in the shadows. You guys can tell us. You know, you can tell Jorge what you get up to, and we can then, you know, extrapolate and run around and have fun with those ideas as well.
You can take notes and keep them. You don't have to throw them away every crop. You know, stuff like that. You don't have to move.
A Da Vinci encryption so no one can understand. Yeah.
All of that's it's just changed so much. I'm really happy it's changing. I don't know if I like the way it changes always, but it's the way it is. And you know, we can either affect that or not. And
the other thing is with the power of numbers in the community, we have all these, you know, variants like we were talking about earlier, like all the polyhybrids, you know, to have such a small gene pool, but to get such a diverse range of, you know, new genetics, you know, that's what we started off saying about all these new genetics we can't keep up. They're still within this cohort of these 6 different variants.
That's so true.
And we're still pushing those boundaries, and I think it's fantastic. And the one thing I want to say, since we've got a little bit of an audience in front of us, is like, well done to those who have been breeding over the years and got us to where we got to, because it's not been easy to do in the shadows and the, you know, the clandestine nature of where it came. But that's where most of the good work was done.
It's true.
Gives us the varieties that we have today.
It's true, and they're also disease resistant and pest resistant as well. Very high profile on THC. I mean, that's a lot of work right there.
Yeah, and you're getting autoflowers now that with massive yields, you know, there used to always be a problem with always low yield and even potency, you know, they can really drive that on the autos now. I
think it's also, it has created over, if you look at the last 40 years or 30 years since you published your first book, 83, no? Or 83. Home growing and passionate growers, craft growers, or legacy now they call them.
Legacy, that's the new word, legacy.
That's the new word, but have been the constant, right? In the market. People that grow for themselves, they do it for quality, not for money. Or, you know, I don't want to know the details, but in general, they really want to know what they're doing, because this is like when you do your own beer or when you have your own tomato garden, you're trying to improve the quality or the process. You're enjoying actually that process. And if you look, meanwhile, we've had legalizations and we have the stock market investing, you know, these constellations, we're putting 4 billions into and all that goes up and down. There's like, it's like a biorhythm, no? And then the money comes and then it's lost. And meanwhile, the craft growers have always been there as a constant and have been the source of many of the genetics, because you know, even with all the billions, where did those genetics come from? They didn't just appear somewhere. I also believe that plants are our most silent friends, and they grow by themselves. That's why.
Yeah,
that's why. Of course, you can optimize. You can get the most out of the potential. Of course, that's why it's interesting to read Jorge's books to improve your technique. But a plant is growing. That miracle of a seed germinating is not a human miracle. It's the plant being alive and doing their own miracle. Exactly.
It's always just fascinating. The world of plants fascinated me. It's like what? It's just looking at the sun and it's drinking water and it's producing this. You know, it's like what?
Making food.
It's just insane process. And the thing about cannabis, which I've come to love compared to a lot of other plants that are growing, is just the way that it grows it. You know, you plant a cannabis seed next to anything else, it's just woof, it's just up, you know, and it's gone.
So much faster.
Yeah, it's so impressive. And that's one of the other projects I'm involved in is looking at carbon capture, not just me, a whole, cohort of people doing it, looking at carbon capture mechanisms for hemp, and like instead of planting a tree to be carbon neutral or whatever, if they're planting hemp plants,
Oh yeah, well it's a lot better.
Yeah, it's much faster.
Sequesters a lot more CO2.
Carbon, yeah. So yeah, this is like I say, we're only scratching the surface on this stuff.
Yeah, no, we're going to see a lot of changes in the future. You know, it can be used for animal feed.
Yeah, but by the way, I would like to bitch a little. I don't know if can I say bitch, but maybe not.
No, you can't say bitch. No bitching, Jay.
But my beloved friends here were telling me, why did you plan 1 hour? Half an hour is more than enough for this thing. You know,
more than enough.
I was just improvising. Right. I would like to inform you that we have already burned 56 minutes.
56 minutes.
Exactly.
Well, we should go.
Just in case you were wondering. I think it was a good time.
Yeah, it was all right.
Is there any questions left before maybe?
Oh, there is hundreds. I lost track. The chat is really animated. We got on YouTube more than 120 likes. Meanwhile,
okay, good.
Someone was happy. We also fixed the problem with the background. Sorry for that.
Yeah.
Well, the sun's gone down too.
Yeah.
Yes, we're sorry we didn't plan it. This is not a production studio. We don't have a script.
If you've got an idea, you want us to talk about something, we mentioned this before.
There.
No, that's much better. Yeah. And just let us know, because we're open to do that. We like to talk about, we like other ideas, and
now we're going beyond the 1 hour.
Yeah, I'm settling in.
I love you. But that's typical of ours. No? We sit down to revise the book, and then the book stays there, and we start talking, and it's so interesting. And I love it.
Interesting guys here.
Yeah, absolutely. And connected by Cervantes. It's the Cervantes team. Absolutely. Quitamos. Yes. So let me see if I can find any. Okay, someone is saying here cannabis needs to be removed by the UN narcotics law. I would say the UN treaties. I cannot be more in favor of that. Yes, I actually refer to those. To the 61 treaty, I call it the Jurassic Park, because it was actually written before we even discovered THC, which was discovered in 64, and it's still actually regulating all cannabis. And meanwhile, we discovered we have an endocannabinoid system. So, maybe we need to update those treaties, but it always takes so long.
Yeah, and that's something we were talking about earlier. I've got this idea that cannabinoids, the way it works with the endocannabinoid system is much more kind of akin to a dietary supplement, wellness thing rather than a pharmaceutical, and we're pushing it in this direction, which is...
Well, that's the way the whole fucking system's made, though.
Yeah.
To fix something that's wrong.
You can say fucking, by the way.
No, we can't say fucking. No saying fucking. But that's the whole system's like that. It's made up. It's like, okay, this is broken.
Yes, I think sometimes it's good to go back to the roots.
Yeah.
In that case, cannabis is a plant, and obviously there are plants which are poisonous, which can kill you. Socrates was killed by a infusion of cicuta, I don't know how you call it. It's so
hemlock.
Thank you for sorry for my bad English. But I think this is also something that we have to get back to understand with all those crazy compliance issues. We forgot that those are plants, and we get from plants a lot of the healthy stuff that keeps us alive. Carrot juice and whatever is not as bad as the Coca-Colas we do every day. So maybe that's a way of normalizing and removing the stigma, is to start to look at plants for what they are, and of course respect them, and it's not a matter of abusing them, but ultimately they have a right to be on this planet just as we are.
Yeah.
We have.
They
no?
do?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just,
Okay.
according to the convention, not. I don't know.
Cannabis is older than humans by
Oh, yeah, way
millions of
older,
years,
way
you know.
older.
Yes,
I think
way
it's the
older.
youngest.
No, I mean, it developed before, we grew up with cannabis. That's why we have the endocannabinoid system. It has to be that way. That, I mean, I don't see any other way it could be than growing together, you know,
Yeah.
developing together,
Yeah.
because they're both needed.
Yeah, it's a key and lock system,
Yeah.
right? So yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and in cannabis, I think the youngest it could be speciated from hops is like 8 million years. And then,
Minimum.
Yeah,
Yeah,
minimum. And then humans are minimum 200,000 years old.
Yeah, no, they're
You know,
way young,
yeah.
way young.
So,
It's not even close.
yeah, so there's all
No,
sorts
it
of
was around, and it's in all mammals too.
yeah. That's
You know,
the
the
thing. So
endocannabinoid
so it was
system is
before we
mammal.
were humans. We
Yeah,
like,
exactly. It came before,
Yeah, maybe,
evolved before us.
yeah. Maybe in between the dinosaurs and us, I don't know. You know, sort of make some T-Rex joke there, munching on a plant, but yeah.
Okay, here's the new variety, Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Yeah, I love it. I'm in.
Tyrannosaurus,
Okay.
man, it'll.
So here we have
Put you on the
a
couch.
friend from the other side of the planet, I would say. Someone from Hawaii. So state
Oh,
of
wow.
Hawaii says
Oh, yeah.
aloha from Maui.
Aloha.
And it's incredible. I mean, see, we just improvise and all of a sudden we are talking with someone or we are connecting with someone in Hawaii. I love this stuff.
Round, the world's round.
Exactly. We have quite a few friends also from Russia.
Cool.
So that's great that we are connecting there. Thailand we mentioned.
Thailand, yeah.
course.
Thailand is
Thailand
really
is-
important these days.
Yes, quite a
Very
few from the UK, Austin,
Excellent.
Texas, here,
Austin,
Nice.
Bristol. Yes.
Nice.
Bristol,
Close to
right.
that, yeah.
Absolutely. So it's a collection. Great. I love it
Nice.
that we are
Awesome, you guys. Yeah.
absolutely interesting. Absolutely interesting.
Well, good. Actually, we could do this like remote when we all go home. We can have.
Yeah,
several
we should
screens and
connect
stuff.
while you're on your tour. I want to hear
Yeah,
about it.
that'd be
And
good.
we can.
Get some
Yeah, that'd be
interesting
good.
backgrounds when
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
let's stay
Yeah.
tuned for
So
more
Yeah,
more
absolutely.
days.
And
Yeah,
just
I'll be
get in touch,
plus-
you know.
Yeah. It's just like +9. You're +8, +9
Mhm.
hours.
Yeah,
Hours. Yeah. So I do it in the morning. That's
Yeah,
good.
no problem. Absolutely.
Yeah, that'll work.
Great.
That'll work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing having
When
such a wide global audience.
When the
isn't
dew's
it?
on the plants. Yeah.
On the herb.
Or the herb.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this sounds good.
Absolutely.
So-
So
Yeah, thanks for checking in, guys. It's
Yeah,
been a
thank
pleasure.
you very much.
and please write at Jorge's Facebook if you have any inputs, ideas for blogs. You know, we otherwise you're always going to have us fighting at what's more interesting. And I think
Yeah.
we've done. You know, we should listen more and.
No, I don't like to listen very well. It's like really bad.
Just say as many words as you can. As fast as you
As
can.
fast as you can.
Well, at least one guy here wants to listen to you carefully. No, and I'm joking. Jorge has always been a grassroots, really going for you know, and don't be afraid. You know, any garden is a good garden. I really believe in that.
Yeah, let me water your garden.
Absolutely. And I've seen it from the very beginning. You're a very humble and direct and
Well,
sincere
yeah, just
person.
like a regular guy, like most people, you know, I mean, just.
I think that's what makes it
Just have a
special.
nice
There-
time, you know.
Yeah, there's so many big egos in this market,
Oh,
if I may
God.
mention, and and you've stayed
It's not
humble
really
and
healthy.
sincere, and that makes a hell of a
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah.
And I mean, 83, right?
83.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's yes.
83. I can't
Actually,
believe it.
I
That
was
is like a long time. Were
I
you
was
alive?
7 years old.
7
so
years
I
old.
probably didn't read the book. You exactly. So, awesome.
1 year old. Wow. Wow. I'm really old. Eh?
All righty. So are we gonna end this? Or
Yeah,
we're
we
gonna
could-
go
we
on for
could-
now. It's
Yeah.
more than an hour than we had
More than-
planned.
Yeah.
Oh
Yes,
my
you had said no,
God.
half an hour and we stopped. And sorry, I was right again.
Right. No, no, he said sorry. And then he says he's right.
Gotcha. I got the legend. Yeah. All right. So you have the honor of ending this.
Yeah. Okay. How do you end this?
You just go on end.
Okay.
Yeah.
End. So, okay. I'm going to push end.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.